and welcome to NCCI's Insights Video Edition. I'm Sheila Fordson. Here's where we get you up to date on the latest NCCI articles and research found on NCCI's Insights portal. And under this video, you'll find links to each article we mention in this episode in the description box. It's a unique category of claims in which occurrences exceed $10 million, mega claims. NCCI's recent Insights report, Mega Claims in Workers' Compensation, addresses the impact these cases could have on the industry. The report examines mega claims through financial, unit statistical, and medical call data. NCCI Associate Actuary Dan Benshaw talks more about these high-cost claims, which saw an uptick in 2016.
Mega claims observe some of the most severe injuries we observed in the system. They are injuries to the central nervous system or to multiple body parts, which happens 95% of the time on these mega claims. To put that in perspective, for a typical lost time claim, those categories of injuries only make up 16% of the claim total. NCCI observed 10 of these claims in accident year 2016. It's too early to tell if the accident year 2016 result is a one-time blip or a new trend. We've started collecting more large loss information than ever before. We're now collecting information on large deductible policies. These are policies with deductibles of $100,000 or greater. This is in addition to collecting large loss information on guaranteed cost and small deductible policies. NCCI will be conducting further research on large losses and other topics, which will be available at ncci.com.
Over the last 5 years, more than 40% of fatal workers' compensation claims involved motor vehicle accidents, or MVAs. And while the industry has experienced an overall decline in claims from 2011 to 2016, the frequency of claims involving MVAs has increased. NCCI's recent research brief investigates this troubling trend.
Motor vehicle accidents often involve very serious injuries that can take their toll on injured workers and their families. Motor vehicle accidents accounted for nearly 20% of all claims involving permanent total disability and 28% of all claims reported to us over $500,000.
These are very serious claims. So we looked at the effects that they're having in a different part of the body, and we see like a relatively high incident rate in terms of injuries to the neck and spine and multiple body parts. We look at the top 30 class codes that account for the most injuries during the last 5 years. And some of these can be intuitive, right? So we have like trucking, chauffeurs, drivers, parcel delivery, salespersons, things that people would think, these occupations, there's a lot of driving occurring.
We found that from year-end 2010 to year-end 2016, the smartphone share of cell phones tripled from 27% to 81%. Also, over that same period, cell phone ownership in general was growing. It reached 95% of the U.S. adult population at the end of 2016. We believe that this explosive growth in smartphone ownership may have been a contributing factor to this recent increase in motor vehicle accident frequency. NCCI will continue to monitor motor vehicle accidents very closely, and we will share our findings. We hope that our research will draw some attention to this recent rise in motor vehicle accidents and hopefully generate additional discussion on possible solutions.
Minimum wage workers comprise less than 2% of all workers on a countrywide basis. Recently, some states have implemented minimum wage increases, and there's been political debate about increasing the federal minimum wage. How could these changes impact system stakeholders, workers, employers, and insurers? And what impact could it have on NCCI's rate-making process? NCCI Director and Actuary John Deacon provides answers to these questions in his latest article, Minimum Wage Impacts on Workers' Compensation.
For 2018, 18 states have increased their minimum wage, and some cities, in fact. And on a national level, there are 29 states that have a higher minimum wage than the federal minimum wage, which is $7.25. And those range from $7.50 up to $12.50 per hour. For workers, their wage replacement benefits when they're injured on the job depends on how much they make per week. And for employers, their premiums are calculated based on their payrolls. So any change to payrolls that's legislatively determined is going to be important for those stakeholders for sure. Insurers receive premiums paid by the employers, so they would also be impacted by any changes in the payroll for employers that would flow up to the insurers in the forms of premiums, and the insurers would have to pay out higher wage replacement benefits to those affected workers. Generally speaking, and historically, NCCI has not made any explicit adjustments to our rate-making practices. And a part of that is because the minimum wages are a very small portion of overall payroll and losses, only about 2%. So on an aggregate level, there isn't really much of an impact. And then for individual class codes, the impacts would vary, but they're uncertain because there may be some offsetting employment effects. What I mean by that is employers may decide to reorganize their workforce in some way to respond to those increased costs of labor.
In the first half of this year, NCCI tracked over 800 state and federal workers' compensation bills, and 76 were enacted as of the end of June. These figures account for just some of the robust information found in NCCI's annual Regulatory and Legislative Trends Report. The publication provides an overview of key legislative, regulatory, judicial, and other developments affecting the workers' compensation system this year. NCCI Division Executive for Regulatory and Legislative Analysis, Laura Kersey, shares more.
The Regulatory and Legislative Trends Report contains both countrywide and state-specific legislative, regulatory, and court case information from 2018. And this is a report that we've been putting out for about 10 years now. But this year, we gave the report a new look and feel. It has a new format and a new style. We've included more narrative, including an executive summary, and we've also included more of a focus on hot topics. The report also contains information about the top 5 workers' compensation legislative trends that we identified for this year. And the top issue that we saw this year were bills related to workers' compensation coverage for first responders. In fact, we tracked over 100 bills that were related to first responders. Another large category of legislation dealt with medical cost containment issues, such as reimbursement and fee schedules, as well as treatment guidelines. And another category dealt with court and legal issues such as arbitration and subrogation.
Thanks for watching this episode of NCCI's Insights Video Edition. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to channel NCCI and follow us on Twitter @NCCI. Visit the Insights portal of our website for the latest industry information, NCCI articles, and research at ncci.com/insights. Join us next time for an overview of the issues at the top of the workers' comp agenda from the source you trust.